Welcome to the CFDA e-commerce and logistics series in collaboration with Getting It Global. I'm Josh Halpern, your host, also known as the VanBassador, and I'm here to share insights from leading experts and brands in the global e-commerce and logistics space. In this series, we'll walk you through some of the key topics and trends that fashion brands should consider as they build their global expansion strategy. Let's check it out. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here, CFDA fashion designers all around the world, listening in with Kai Lee, VP of International for Revolve. Kai, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We're going to break down three things that you've articulated as ways to evaluate which markets to go into. One is product fit, two is customer retention, and three, strategic depth. Let's talk about product fit. Break it down for us.
Product fit, we want to make sure our core offerings have demand in the target market. I'm not saying that your product need to be perfect or there's no need for future localization, but we want to make sure the fundamentals that we offer fit the market. For Revolve, for example, we are a multi-brand retailer over offerings, over merchandise selection, over styles we carry, and we have very distinct styles. So for Revolve, to measure product fit in different market, I create a set of index products that are the best representation of our styles. Then and I measure the revenue share of those index. And the higher the penetration rate, the higher product fit.
Give us a few examples of what that looks like. And is this a spreadsheet of sorts? How do you break this down?
Yeah, for Revolve, is basically I create, like I said, I create a set of products I think that are best represent Revolve styles. And I would just measure the revenue from those products that are being sold around the world as a percentage of the total revenue in those particular markets.
Great. Customer retention. What's that all about?
Yeah, so it's when you enter into a new market, that mass majority of your revenue is through new customers, 80-90%. While a couple years down the road in a mature market, that the market become mature for you, that numbers really flips. So majority of your revenue, 80-90%, it's generated through customers you acquired in the past. So the secret of growing a market to, let's say, $100 million is the long, sustained, compound growth. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And the retention is a key component that reinforces growth year after year. That's the key for you be able to continue growing your revenue year after year until we reach a mass.
So you take it one step further from the Pareto principle, 80-20, you go 90-10. That's like the Kai principle. 90% of your revenue from the top 10 of your consumer base. Is that accurate?
What I'm saying is that a lot of your new revenue from your new customer, that's how I measure it, right? At the very beginning of when you go into the market, that a mass majority, because you don't have existing customers. So mass majority revenue coming from the new customers. And then those customers will continue to buy from you the year 2, year 3, year 4, and that's basically compounded into the growth you have for the rest couple of years. And if you have a high retention rate, there's going to be more customer that will continue coming back to buy from you. And it's compared to if you don't have retention, only thing you get is the revenue from a new customer.
And that's particularly interesting, again, to needle down into that, because when we're talking about analyzing a new market entry, there are things you need to do that you should proportionally weight higher when it comes to customer service than you might domestically, because you really need to work extra hard to attract and keep those customers. That manifests itself, I presume, in logistics and other scenarios. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. That we need to seriously working on customer over service level to retain customer. The way we should look at over revenue should not be, the dollar invested for a percentage for a specific sale, but it should be dollar invested for the customer lifetime value.
In Revolve's case, how does that manifest itself? What are some things that you do to make sure that you're attracting and keeping those customers overseas?
Mainly, we by increase over service level in the different regions. That's one large category way of that we can improve retention. The second is to increase over engagement with the customer. That the repeated engagement will also help to bring customer back.
All right, let's talk about strategic depth now.
The market has to be big enough for you to be willing to invest into it, right? Who are your customers? How big is the segment? Is the segment growing? How fast? And for how long will it grow? We want to make sure there's enough room that for us to grow. And also that we are particularly interested in market that we can grow with the market, meaning that over target segment also experience rapid growth versus a market that's already established that we have to fight over ways to take shares from others.
What can companies do today to analyze their strategic depth, especially if they don't have the visibility perhaps that Revolve has?
I would say the macro data, looking at the market, e-commerce growth rate, and your specific targets. And most of our target segment are middle class. So looking at a market, the size of the middle class, and if that middle class population is growing, those are probably the most basic way to start out. And also, without tons of data, that you should be able to understand your customer profile. For example, you can have a basic understanding of their income level, and looking at for that particular income level, what's the addressable market size.
How much would you say the competitive landscape weighs into your decision making? For example, if you're saying, hey, we've identified per what you're saying, the market fit, the demographics fit my line, my product line, but do you start to say, yeah, but I may not even go into that market because of XYZ competitor?
Definitely. Like I mentioned earlier, that we favor markets that has a rapid growth, that are basically saying that the landscape is changing rapidly versus a market is well established. That also means that there are existing competitors that are difficult for you to get in to compete with. So yeah, when you see a higher competitive landscape, that's a negative sign for you to choose that market.
For fashion designers who may not have the let's say scope or the resources that a Revolve has, what would be a few markets you would consider early entries?
For the early entry, I would say the Western market, what we call. So we're looking at UK, Australia. Those are probably the market you should be looking at. A lot of the marketing activity you have, we live in a connected world. Whatever marketing activity you have in the US will have impact on other markets that have similar culture. So, UK, Australia, Canada, those are the ones you will see immediate impact just by conducting marketing online. And there's a lot of similarity compared to what we have. The style selection are very, very different. On the other side of the spectrum, you will see Asians, their styles may be different. Another reason why those markets are low-hanging fruit for most fashion designer is because that logistics is ready, the payment, all the operational needs for you to tackle those markets are much more mature and also similar to what we have in the US.
Are there any markets that you went into that you thought, hey, we're going to kill it in that market, and it turned out maybe stylistically or service-wise you just weren't able to make it?
Brazil would be a great example. If I look at Revolve's social follower, so there's a lot of indicators you can use to look at for markets to basically gauge your awareness, right? Revolve is very strong on social media, so over social follower is a key indicator I keep an eye out for. Brazil is really on the top of the list. We'll say Brazil is probably top 3 countries in terms of the size over followers. We have enormous awareness in the market, but it is a market very, very difficult to penetrate, mainly because of operational reason. I would say 2 are the most difficult. One is logistics. The duty and taxes are extremely high. We're talking about over 100% duty and taxes. The second one is payment. The approval rate, the auth rate for cross-border credit card authorization is very low there. You need a significant amount of investment in order before to break into this market.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I love a Revolve dress as much as the next person, but 100% on top of retail. Are people paying for it at this point?
We do see customer buy from Brazil, but the numbers are relatively very, very small at this point. I believe we will see a lot of growth coming out of Brazil if we can solve the logistics as well as the payment challenges.
Kylie, thanks for breaking it down. 3 things to do to evaluate your markets as you expand globally. We'll see you soon. Have a great day.